Hey guys, welcome to today's class. Have fun.
Hello everyone, my name is Adebayo and I will be taking Literature in English for SS3 students in preparation for their West African examinations. Today I'm going to start with figure of speech and literary devices. These are very important parts of literature, and before we can go through the poems and the prose, both the African and non-African prose and poems, it's very important that we go through the figure of speech and literary devices. Now, to start with, what are figure of speech? Basically, a figure of speech is a phrase or word having different meanings than its literary meaning. So basically, it is used to emblemish the language. It is to cause a moment of excitement when reading, and it also focuses on creating emphasis or clarity or the freshness of the expression. And importantly, it's a creative expression, and it's to make the image more graphic, vivid, and pointed in the mind of the reader. On the other hand, a literary device is any technique or structure used by writers in their work to express a message. Most times these things go hand in hand and they are treated together. Now there are so many figure of speech and literary devices, and here are some of the examples that we'll be going through briefly today. So here are some of the familiar examples we have. We have personification, metaphor, simile, understatement, pun, irony, oxymoron, hyperbole, and the rest basically. And we're going to quickly dive into the examples. The very first one is personification. It is basically seen in prose and in poems, and it is when a writer gives a human trait to a non-human or inanimate object. So basically, you can say the wind howled in the night. The car complained as the key was roughly turned in its ignition. Chike heard the last piece of meat calling her name. My alarm clock yelled at me to get out of bed every morning. Obviously, these are human qualities, and basically, your alarm clock does not really yell at you, but you can use this device to create an expression. Now we have simile, which is a type of comparison between things and objects using as or like. The examples we have here is you are as brave as a lion. The fought like cats and dogs. Your explanation is as clear as mud. So it's basically you expressing something but comparing it with another thing. Now the funny thing here is metaphor is almost the same thing, but the only difference is metaphor doesn't use the conjunction such as like or as. For metaphor, you can say I am titanium, like the song, like the David Guetta and CI song Titanium. Or another example is all our words are but crumbles that fall down from the feast of the mind. Another example is she is a falling star. So that is the major difference between metaphor and simile. Now we're going to hyperbole and understatement. Now these two devices are completely opposite to each other in the sense that hyperbole uses extreme exaggeration by laying emphasis on a certain quality or feature. The goal is to create emotion. It could be to bring up laughter or empathy or sadness or happiness or a feeling. Okay, for instance, I am so hungry I could eat a horse. Of course, the person does not really mean he or she can eat a horse, but is trying to describe that, okay, I'm really hungry, and is trying to emphasize, but using extreme exaggeration. Or is as skinny as a toothpick. No human is as skinny as a toothpick. it is raining cats and dog. In this sense, it's explaining that it's raining so heavily, and the heaviness or the consistency of the rain is described as cats and dog. On the other hand, understatement is the opposite of exaggeration, basically. It is using words to underplay things. For instance, you killed my family and I don't like that kind of thing. Obviously, you expect the speaker to use more probably aggressive or more assertive words to describe the displeasure or the disappointment. So now this is a perfect example of understatement, which can be used in literature. And as you can see, it was used here in the book The Chosen One by Boone Collins and Rob Shidnezer. Now we can go to pun. Pun is the manipulation of words that have more than one meaning. The main purpose of pun is to bring humor to an expression. I also know pun as a play on words. Okay, for instance, we have the tallest building in town is the library. It has thousands of stories. Now, stories here could describe a story building, right? But at the same time, it still talks about the stories in the library, the stories of the books in the library. So here it conveys like more than the meanings intended, but most times it's to like, oh, did you get the reference? Is basically to catch a reference, or it desires for the reader to basically notice or catch the reference. Another example would be, why do amphibians take the bus? Because their cars are always getting towed. So yeah, towed is talking about a type of amphibian, but the real meaning also that it's trying to convey is towed, which is TOWED, like taking their car away, right? So basically it's a play on words which is meant for the reader to understand, recognize, basically. Next, we're talking about irony. Irony is the contrast between expectation for a situation and what is the reality. This can be the difference between the surface meaning of something that is said and the underlying meaning. It's like saying, what a pleasant day, while it is raining heavily. Obviously, it is not a pleasant day, but I could say that for dramatic effect because it's the ironic, right? Because you're trying to have a pleasant day. Okay, it's in the morning, you're stepping out and someone wishes you a pleasant day, but throughout the day it rains heavily, which means you're having the opposite of a pleasant day, right? Another perfect example of irony is the story of Romeo and Juliet, which I hope we're all familiar with. Now, the irony is the part where Juliet took the sleeping pill, which the audience knew it was a sleeping pill, but Romeo interpreted it as she was dead because she appeared to look dead, and he killed himself. Then Juliet woke up from her sleep and saw that Romeo was dead, and she killed herself as well. So the irony of it is the deaths were unnecessary if only Romeo had stayed long enough to see Juliet wake up from her induced sleep. Now, the next thing we're talking about is oxymoron, and is a figure of speech where two contradictory words are placed together. The example we have here is, a yawn may be defined as a silent yell. We all know that you don't hear anything when you yawn, but it can be, in this statement, it defines it as a silent yell. Or the second example by W.C. Fields, the best cure for insomnia is to get a lot of sleep. Insomnia means the inability to sleep at night, yeah? And here the statement is saying the best cure for it is to get a lot of sleep when you cannot. So you can see the contradiction. The second example says a fine mess. Like the word fine placed side with mess is very contradictory. Or the last example, a just war. Next, we're going to look at onomatopoeia, which is like my very best literary device. It's a word which imitates the natural sounds of a thing. It creates a sound effect that mimics the thing described, making the description more expressive and interesting. Now, for example, animal sounds are all onomatopoeias in writing, like oink, burr, neigh, cuckoo, moo, tweet. Now, what comes to mind here is the old MacDonald songs, and it's a children's rhyme, and then all the sounds are all onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia can also be words, group of words that reflect a sound of a single object. For instance, the words, group of words that describe the sound of water, like plop, splash, gush, sprinkle, drizzle, and drip. They're all onomatopoeias. Or words that even express like human sounds, like grow, giggle, grunts, mumble, blut, and chatter. And words that describe the sound of wind, such as swish, whoosh. They're all onomatopoeia because they try to mimic the sound effect of a particular thing being described. And this is a very important literary device. Now, we're talking about idioms next. An idiom is a group of words whose meaning is figurative and different from the actual words of expression. Idioms are powerful expressions using just a few words to convey a lot of information in a vivid and imaginative way. For instance, I'm sure we're very familiar with so many idioms we've heard from day to day, like actions speak louder than words, right? Like when you make a promise and the person expects you to actually act according to what you say, or actions speak louder than words, basically saying that what you do, it shows more than the words that come out from your mouth. Or the second example, add insult to injury, which means you had like committed an offense before, then you just made it worse. Break a leg means good luck. Like you're going to write an exam and they tell you break your leg, it means good luck. The ball is in your court, which means it is time for you to make the decision. Like the decision is yours to make. Let's hear the news from the author's mouth, which means news you're probably saying right now is not real or fake, and let us hear from the witness or from the person that who is the subject of the matter, basically. So the person here is like the us, figuratively speaking, and you want to get the news directly from the person or from the authority. The next example will be the Gucci bag cost an arm and leg, which is saying the Gucci bag is expensive, like it's very expensive. And last example, taking the action is biting more than you can chew, which means it is a wrong choice, it is dangerous because it has dire consequences. Now next, we're talking about paradox. This is a statement that appears to be self-contradictory or silly, but which may include an underlying truth. For instance, enemy's friend is your enemy, which is the enemy of my enemy is my friend, which connotes that you could team up with the other enemy to have to take a stand against your common enemy. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others, which is taken from the famous George Orwell's Animal Farm. Or the third example, which is the child is the father of the man. Now, it shows that, oh, this child grew up to be the father of the man you're seeing presently. Now, the last one we're talking about is tautology. Tautology is a repetitive use of phrases or words that have similar meaning. They're those additional words we add to an already established idea. One example here is repeat that again. This is tautology because repeating has to do with doing something again. So when you add again to the same sentence, it is tautology. Shout it out loud is tautology because shouting is a loud expression. So when you add loud to the place, it's basically repeat the very first idea of the statement. Or the third example here, which is, are you descending down? Descending means for you to go down somewhere, probably down the stairs. So for you to add down is a repetition of the meaning the meaning or the expression you're trying to relate to your listener. So are you thinking about it now? You can probably recognize some of the tautology we make in our daily life when you're trying to express ideas when we're trying to express ideas and words, using words in our daily life. So it's basically when you repeat it with a different word, but you're repeating the same idea in the same sentence. Now, that is all we're going to be treating today, and we still have so many other figure of speech and literary devices to treat, but this is going to be continued in the next lesson. Thank you very much, and I wish you success in your exam.
I hope the class was interesting. If you have questions, please drop them in the comment section or send us an email. We will love to help you further. See you in the next class.